Tonight we are a long, long way from Palestine and a long, long way from the time of Jesus in that country. And so it might be difficult for us to fully grasp what happened that night. Most people, of course, walked wherever they went. Maybe those of greater means actually had a donkey or something to ride on. But everyone walked, either barefoot or with the simplest kind of sandals strapped to their feet. They walked the roads and the streets and the pathways where all other God's creatures walked and pooped and pee. They walked there in the dust of those streets, in whatever there was on the path. And so when you came into someone's home to come to a dinner, one of the first things you did was wash your feet. Unless you were in the home of someone of great means, you would wash your own feet. The host would provide you with the basin, and you would wash your feet. If that host was a person of some means who had servants, Gentile servants, they would have the demeaning task of washing your feet. A Jew would not wash the feet of another Jew because that was too demeaning. And the feet that would be washed would need to be washed. So when Jesus drops to his knees in his undergarment, underwear, drops to his knees to wash the dirty feet of his apostles, Peter gets it right. No, this is not right. This is not right. You should not be washing my feet. It's not your role to wash my feet. Even if the apostles had washed their own feet when they came into the banquet hall that night, it still was unheard of that what Jesus was about to do should happen. But Peter would learn. He would learn. If I don't wash you, you'll have no part of me. And Peter then, in the exuberance of Peter, well, then wash me all, my hands and my head as well. He gets it right. Yes, I want to be part of you, Jesus. I want to be part of what you are doing. I want to share in that inheritance. And so with probably great joy, he let Jesus wash his feet. How often over the past 3 years, Jesus would have talked about how important it is to be a servant to one another, how important it is to love one another, even to love your enemy. How often he was trying to teach his disciples. And now when he's down to his last hour, and he knows they haven't got it yet, he models it for them in a most dramatic way, in the washing of their feet. And then he asks the important question, do you realize what I've done for you? Do you realize if I, Master and Lord, have washed your feet, then you need to wash one another's feet. This is the great commandment, this love of one another that Jesus has been trying to use words to communicate, and now he dramatically symbolizes it this night, the last night he has to be with his disciples. St. Francis of Assisi was known to frequently, in in the years or so of his process of conversion to wash the feet of lepers. He lived in the leper colony. He washed their feet. Clare of Assisi, his contemporary in the monastery, would wash the feet of her sisters when they had gone out to beg, or when they were just tired or sick. Clare, the mistress of the house, would wash their feet. When my mother was aging and the arthritis was so painful in her feet, I remember seeing my dad fall down on his knees in his 80s and rub my mother's feet. Rub her feet, trying to bring some comfort to the pain. And next door, Foot Care for the Souls, literally, is washing the feet of the folks who live, they hardly live around here, who wander our streets. And some of you may already be volunteering in that ministry, literally washing others' feet. The literal washing of feet is an excellent way to symbolize what our lives are to be about in obedience to the great commandment of Jesus, the mandatum that we speak of on Maundy Thursday. The mandatum, do as I have done. It may not be that you're washing feet. You're wiping the butt of your baby. You're cleaning up after a vomit situation. You're doing all kinds of things for another that you love. It's part of life. And it's fulfilling the commandment of love. And whether it's that bodily or whether it's in other ways, tonight is an invitation to fulfill the great commandment, to do as he did. I was reflecting today, I've had one pedicure in my life. It was kind of humbling to have somebody deal with my feet and tell me how I could better tend to my feet so that little athlete's foot between the toes wasn't there. Made me all the more embarrassed that she's dealing with my feet. Whether you're the one washing feet or you're the ones whose foot is being washed, it's a humble thing. And yet it is the great commandment. Amazing that Jesus, on the very night that he knows Judas is going to betray him, on the very night that he knows his life is coming to its culmination, he's thinking about his disciples. He's thinking about them and thinking about us. In that supper that he was sharing with them, he gives us this sacrament of his body and blood. He's giving of himself totally to us. And that will be totally true from the cross the next afternoon. The invitation to us who are the followers of Jesus is to try to fulfill the commandment that Jesus gave us, to love in some of the most earthy, bodily ways and other means we have of fulfilling the great commandment to love as he has loved. Tonight, we participate, the only night of the year, in this symbol of washing each other's feet. It's a sacred moment. It's kind of a sacramental moment to wash another person's feet and to have them wash your feet. Just a great reminder that this is what we as Christians are called to do, not just on Holy Thursday, but all the days of our lives, somehow giving ourselves in acts of love for our sisters and brothers. So this evening, there are 5 stations up here in the front, 2 that are down here on the floor so you don't have to deal with the steps. Everyone is invited to come forward to have your feet washed, to wash the feet of the person who you are with. If getting down at all is difficult, there is even hand washing stations at each side. To somehow participate in washing another person's feet, even just washing another person's hands, and doing it as an act of love and care for that other person. So we engage tonight in doing what Jesus did for his disciples, washing one another's feet. So I invite